Off the topic 6, another day for the Ducks in a few areas. 13 News now at Ocean Yacht Marina in Portsmouth. Even the hardiest of sailors are staying in port.
Live radar reveals the reason why. Take a look right there. A line of storms over North Carolina, along with several flood advisories posted right now. And that's the reason we're starting once again with Jeff.
Where are the storms headed, Jeff?
Southwest. Now, it's interesting. The big part of the storms are moving southwest. Yeah. The upper level part with the light rains moving northeast. They're literally moving, the same storms are moving in 180-degree opposite directions. You'll be able to see that in a moment when we post it here and put it into motion. This lighter stuff is moving again to the northeast, whereas down to the south, it is moving in the other direction. So how much rain have we seen across the region? Not a whole lot during the day today. Just a few light showers here late, but even Elizabeth City, for example, showing up with a little bit more in the way of moisture down there. That is at the airport. Just southwest of there, we had that advisory that was out. So Norfolk right now is at 67, Virginia Beach 64, Newport News 68, same temperature in Melfa. Elizabeth City right now is checking in at 71 degrees. So as we go through the remainder of the evening, again, watch for a few patches of light rain here in the immediate area, but it's out of the viewing area to the southwest that now has the heavy storms. How about tomorrow? Well, there are some more storms in the forecast, and that's what I'll talk about next.
All right, Jeff, thanks. An alert on the Outer Banks as we take a live look at Ocracoke. Dangerous rip currents are causing concerns in Dare and Hyde counties. Rip currents are most likely to happen near low tide, which hits in just about 2 hours.
Well, the weather held out long enough for NASA to launch a rocket from Wallops Island. Check out this brand new picture from this morning's launch. The Antares rocket is carrying nearly 3 tons of cargo to the International Space Station. New and disturbing details emerge in a case of alleged child abuse.
A mom and her boyfriend stand accused of killing an 11-year-old girl with special needs. 13 News now learned the couple faced previous allegations of child abuse. Megan Puryear has the story. She's been following this since it broke.
And Megan, the more we learn, the more disturbing this story becomes.
Regina, David, the most disturbing detail I think so far is the fact that this girl had functioning level of a 2-year-old essentially and had difficulty communicating if and when she was hurt. Now the documents we found also show that this alleged abuse went on for years.
Court documents show Heaven Watkins had a brain hemorrhage and hydrocephalus as a baby. The documents state she tried to tell teachers her father, Joaquin Watkins, hit her, and staff noticed she had a swollen lip. Paperwork reveals teachers worried about Heaven's, quote, highly sexualized behavior and words. Holly Dean of CASA in Virginia Beach says these are warning signs.
A lot of times in school, those kids sometimes have behavioral problems or in the communities, they may be acting out or having emotional outbursts.
LaToya Smith and the kids moved to Norfolk 10 months ago from Minnesota. Court documents there show Smith's ex, Joaquin Watkins, kept drugs and weapons in the Minnesota house, and he sold drugs from the home. Heaven allegedly has suffered abuse by her mother, LaToya Smith. In 2015, social services removed Heaven from her mother's custody. Court documents show Smith experienced significant stress from authorities taking her children. They required the mother to see a therapist to deal with her own past trauma. Executive Director of CASA, Season Roberts, says this is normal.
More often than not, the kids who are being abused, their parents have been abused in the past. They're victims of child abuse and neglect themselves. And so if that's not caught when the parents are young, it kind of perpetuates itself onto the next generation of kids.
Police charged Smith with child abuse and neglect, which caused serious injury on February 26th, and also charged her boyfriend DeMont Harris that same day with malicious assault. Heaven suffered her last abuse last week when medics found the child dead in her Norfolk home with serious injuries.
Now, it's unclear if the father, Joaquin Watkins, faces any charges. There will be a candlelight vigil for Heaven Friday night on Bellevue Avenue, where people will release pink and purple balloons. That's her favorite color. Live in the studio, Megan Puryear, 13 News Now.
New at 6, Newport News police released brand new video of a man holding up a gas station. This was taken at the East Coast on Jefferson Avenue. Detectives say the man walked in, terrorized the clerk with a gun, and took off with some cash. Police hope this video can help put the man behind bars. If you recognize him, give the crime line a call.
Let's take you live to Virginia Beach. An ambitious plan could change how you get around at the oceanfront. A plan calls for a radical road redesign near the north end.
We're told it's nearly a done deal. The plan calls for the realignment of Atlantic Avenue near 40th Street. Atlantic would end in a cul-de-sac across the street from the Cavalier Hotel. 13 News Now anchor Ernie LeBeau is learning more about the plan.
And Ernie, this depends on one thing.
Yeah, right now, Regina, it depends on money. The city leaders say that they will not pay for this project, which is why they are hoping that maybe a state grant that they applied for will come through. But they say nothing will move forward until the city officially approves this project.
Either the developer would proceed with the hotels with Atlantic Avenue under its current configuration, or the developer would have to decide if they could fund it themselves.
Virginia Beach City Manager Tom Leahy says the developer Cavalier Associates will need to pursue other options if the city doesn't receive a state grant. The developer requested the city pay to reconfigure Atlantic Avenue to accommodate new development in the area. It's a project expected to cost $2.5 million. It'll turn Atlantic Avenue near 40th Street into a cul-de-sac and install new traffic lights and patterns. But Leahy says the state funding is still in limbo.
The decision on the grant is up to the state, both in the determination and the timing. Right now, of course, the state doesn't even have a state budget, and it may very well be that those type of issues are taking precedent.
Last year, after meeting with residents and business owners, city leaders say many are on board.
Generally, it would appear that most of the parties in the area are in favor of the reconfiguration.
But not everyone.
Now with this road closing, potential road closing, I don't agree with that.
You're removing roadways, it doesn't make sense.
And adding to that sentiment, I'm told that residents and board members over at the Oceans condos off of Atlantic will be having a meeting tonight to talk about this project. Many of them are not for it, but the city manager tells me that they should know more about this grant over the summer or sometime in the summer. Reporting live in Virginia Beach, I'm Ernie LeBeau, 13 News Now.
War of words in the State House. In less than 24 hours, we'll know if the Senate will pass the budget already passed by the House. But Senate Republicans tell 13 News Now that nothing is certain. Leaders say they will not approve a budget including Medicaid expansion. 2 Republican senators joined the 19 Democrats who support expansion, shifting the balance of power. And among them is Virginia Beach Senator Frank Wagner.
There's a couple of budgets being prepared, but I think there's one that represents some work that's going on between a couple of senators and some key members of the House of Delegates that represents and reflects, I think, a compromise between the House and Senate.
The House of Delegates will convene on Wednesday.
Local and state leaders want more money to go toward housing programs. Congressman Bobby Scott and other local leaders are brainstorming ways to lower the eviction rate in Hampton Roads. Congressman Scott says the discussion emphasizes the importance of funding housing programs.
If we had more programming so that those who actually qualified could get the benefits of housing programs, we wouldn't have the problem that we have today.
A report by the New York Times this weekend revealed Hampton Roads has one of the highest levels of evictions across the country. 4 local cities are among the top 10 in the nation based on data from 2016.